Have you ever been on a diet and thought, wait a minute, I'm eating less, I'm working out more, and still no weight loss? What gives? Well, you're not alone, but guess what? It's not always about just eating less. In fact, the calorie deficit advice might be missing a huge thing. Today, I'm going to show you why a simple eat less, move more approach isn't working and what you can do about it. Because if it were that simple, we'd all be walking around with six pack abs, right? Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Dr. Carter with Modern Body Clinic, and we are weight loss experts. You probably heard the phrase calories in, calories out. Sounds simple enough, but doesn't always work for people. Let's start off with just defining what that is. Simple definition is consuming less calories than you burn in a day. Sometimes not the full picture though. A scientist will look at it a little bit differently. So the scientist would define calories as total daily energy expenditure, meaning how much calories you utilize in a whole day. And so there actually is a formula for that. So that what they call TDEE, the total daily energy expenditure, is equal to our BMR, which is our basic metabolic rate. And simply what that is the calories we burn from just being alive, from breathing, from digesting, from taking breaths, thinking. That is your basic metabolic rate. Now we add that to something called EAT, which is exercise associated thermogenesis, and that just means calories used. So these scientists will use thermogenesis to mean calorie burn. So BMR plus exercise or EAT plus something called NEAT, which is non-exercise associated thermogenesis, which that is just other stuff we're doing that's not exercise. So walking up a flight of stairs to get to the office, doing laundry, getting in and out of the car. Those are non-exercise associated activities. And then the last thing, which often is not talked about, is the thermic effect of food. So it turns out that we have to burn calories to digest food, and not all of them are the same. In fact, protein has the highest thermic effect, meaning we utilize the most calories to burn protein, which means we burn the most calories to digest protein. Sum it up. The TDEE is equal to our BMR plus exercise plus non-exercise activity plus the thermic effect of food. Say that 3 times fast. Anyway, so there are 3 mistakes that are often made not knowing that all of that going into your total calorie needs for the day. First one is actually consuming too few calories. So sometimes when we drop our calories so significantly, we actually decrease how much activity we're doing. You're kind of compensating, and so usually it's not known or obvious to you. And so it may be that you're doing a little bit less exercise, but also it could be that you're doing less non-exercise activity, whereas you would normally take the stairs when your calorie level is so low, you say, all right, I'm just going to take the elevator, I'll just wait. So there is definitely impact there, and it will diminish the deficit that you're looking to create. Another mistake people make is overestimating how much exercise is contributing. So some people think that when you run for 30 minutes, that's 500 calories, where in reality, it may be 250 calories, which is much difference. And so over time, you can see that that will impact how much weight we see or don't see come off the scale. Another mistake people make is not addressing the non-exercise activity. Again, sometimes we will compensate when we're eating less by doing less activity. So the activity, whether it's, going up the flight of stairs or cooking or folding clothes, whatever it is, we will lower that. So those has to be accounted for as well. Paying attention to that non-exercise activity is important. What's the action we can do to make sure that we're really addressing everything? First part is to know what your total daily energy expenditure is. Check out this calculator to to figure out what yours is. And so it's going to ask how old you are, how much you weigh, etc., and it will give you a calculation on what they think your total daily energy expenditure is. And then from there, we would like to subtract anywhere from 300 to 500 calories. If we go more than 500 calories, generally people, it's too big a jump, and you find it difficult, start having cravings, and you just give up because it's too hard. If we go much below, then it may take too long before you see the results. We generally like anywhere from 300 to 500 calorie deficit. If you've been told eat less, move more, but you're not seeing the results, we should rethink that. Yes, it sounds logical and it is simple, but it may be oversimplified. Another thing that's going on is survival. When you are losing weight, and particularly fat, your body thinks it's starving. It turns out we are very good at survival. Our body is going to adapt to that. One of those things is going to do is what's called metabolic adaptation, is that essentially we are going to decrease essentially what we're going to do is become more efficient our calorie usage and decrease how many calories we use. So there was a study from the 1940s, it's called the Minnesota starvation experiment. It had 36 men in it, at least at the beginning. It's probably not a study that you could get approved for nowadays. Some people question ethics, but one of the things they got from the study was that they saw the people's metabolism go down as much as 40%. And this actually persisted even after they were not in a calorie deficit and quote unquote recovered. Now, there's been a number of other studies that basically shown the same picture, including a study done with Biggest Loser contestants. They still had persistent decreased metabolic rates even after they were eating a normal amount of food for them. Another way your body will respond is via hormones. And so these are a list of all the hormones that are impacted when we are prolonged calorie restriction. But the two, we're full, we have plenty of energy, we don't need to go eat. We have prolonged restriction, what will happen is our leptin levels will go down and our ghrelin levels will go up. So you can imagine for survival, good, we want that. But if we're trying to lose weight, that is the opposite of what we really want to do. Yet another adjustment your body makes is in cortisol. So it turns out your body sees weight loss as a stress. And so your cortisol levels can go up, again, particularly if you're doing a prolonged restriction. Cortisol is going to have the effect of making your body want to hang on to fat, especially around the abdomen, but also it can impact your muscles negatively, meaning we can start to see muscle loss because of the cortisol level. What can we do about this metabolic adaptation? Turns out so I'll give you two actually. So one is something called diet breaks. It is what it sounds like, is taking a break, and it can be anywhere from 1 to 12 weeks. It's really going to depend on how long you've been on a diet or on a calorie restriction. That is one option. You would basically slowly get your calories back to what's called maintenance, and you would do that again from 1 to 12 weeks. Or another option is called calorie cycling. What that is, going between calorie deficit and calorie maintenance or slight surplus. You can do anywhere from 3, 6, 7 days in a row and then have 1 or 2 days of maintenance calories or slightly higher calories and still lose weight. Now, there's actually several other different strategies or different ways to do this. So, in fact, if you want a video about that, comment below. What this will do, though, is reset your leptin levels, and it also will help with the cortisol and ghrelin levels, and it will tell your body everything is okay, there's enough calories. So, did you know that counting calories has some hidden problems? Different foods impact your body differently, right? 100 calories of broccoli is not the same as 100 calories as a chocolate chip cookie or M&Ms or a soda. And you can imagine 100 calories of broccoli is probably a pretty big plate of food, whereas M&Ms, probably a handful of M&Ms will be 100 calories. The other difference is how they're going to act in your body. The broccoli is going to have fiber and other micronutrients that are good for your body, and M&Ms or cookies are just going to have sugar. So we're going to see a different blood sugar response, and also is going to fill you up differently. It's going to take way more than 100 calories of M&Ms to feel full. The type of food does matter. Another thing is, it turns out the food labels that you're reading are not so accurate. Yes, the FDA allows them to be off up to 20%. So if you see a food label that says 500 calories, maybe it's 500 calories, maybe it's 400, could be 600, and over time that error can add up. The label is not necessarily accurate as it says. Another thing that is not necessarily accounted for, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is the thermic effect of food. Yes, protein has the highest thermic effect, meaning it takes more energy to digest protein as opposed to an apple or a teaspoon of sugar. Way more energy, in fact. So how do we address these hidden problems? Well, two different ways. Well, actually, I'll say one way, what you pick to eat. So we want to prioritize whole foods and protein. And you can see the whole foods are going to be more satiating, and the protein is going to have more of a thermic effect and calorie load than other foods. Plus, there's a number of other reasons why you want to. Plus, there's other health benefits to making sure you get adequate protein. What if I told you that the more muscle you have, the easier it is to lose weight? Yeah, it turns out that's true. Strength training will help maintain or build muscle, which makes it easier to burn calories. Why? So again, remember that formula, the total daily energy expenditure equals BMR. And so the more muscle we have, the higher our BMR is, the higher our basal metabolic rate is. So meaning just being alive, we're going to burn more calories if we have more muscle. It is important that we do cardio. There's other health benefits besides losing weight that cardio offers, but if you really want to supercharge your weight loss, definitely adding resistance training is going to be helpful. Okay, so how do we act? So what's the action step for this? Well, it's looking at, especially if you're starting from zero, to do some type of resistance training 2 to 3 times per week. This is definitely enough to get the ball rolling, and actually been studied. A number of studies have shown that 2 to 3 times a week of resistance training will impact retaining muscle and gaining muscle. Someone who is naive to training. So you tried cutting calories and eating less, working out more, and not seeing the gains. Well, let's put everything together here. So first, we look at a total daily energy expenditure, create a deficit from that, and then we definitely want to make sure we're addressing metabolic adaptation. So that's either going to be making sure we have diet breaks in there or calorie cycling. So it could be that we have deficit 6 days a week and then take 1 day to have maintenance or a little bit higher calorie intake, and then making sure that we are addressing the stress, and so our cortisol levels don't end up getting away. That high calorie day and making sure we're getting enough sleep will take care of the cortisol. So remember, it's not just about eating less. It's really looking at a balanced approach in regards to picking the right food, exercising, again, and picking the right exercise, and then make sure that we're recovering. So if you found this helpful, please subscribe. Otherwise, check out one of these videos on weight loss.